Hello and welcome back to the channel. Hopefully everybody's well. And right, what am I doing today? We're gonna carry on with some more work on the Mighty White. You will have seen the video Ricky put up, and I've concentrated on the driver's side, done all the seal and repainted her up on that side. So today I will be concentrating on the passenger side. Now the passenger side is a lot worse than the driver's side. There's been many issues with the paintwork, so we'll go and have a look and we'll see what's going on. Okay, so this is the worst side that I really must tackle. There's a few issues going on here. So we've got some usual rusty bits, just surface rust coming through, some paint fade, and if you can, hopefully you can see that. We've got a couple of little bubbles here, a couple of little bubbles down the wing down here, and the same as the driver's side. Looks like it may have been an old repair. That's now started to get a little bit worse. Bottom of the doors this side are really good. Nothing too bad there at all really, but as before we're going to pull off the old underseal and the trim. A little bit of surface rust coming through here. I don't think it's too bad, nothing structural, just surface rust where the stone chippers has let go, and obviously some water's gotten behind there somewhere. So I'd like to address all that. Obviously pull the trim off. Hopefully there's nothing too bad there. We've got this going on here. I think this is basically a result of when these quarter lights, whatever they're called, windows, were leaking. Every time I washed the car you could actually see water running down the inside there, so I resealed these a couple of years ago. They've not leaked since, but I think as a result of the water getting behind the panel and getting trapped up here, this has always been an issue. And the same as back here, look, some issues going on there, so I want to get that lineage back, get some new stone chip on there. Hopefully doesn't feel like they've gone through, but I definitely know this has been repaired because I have repaired it once before. So I think it's time it was done again. Maybe I will have to weld that, but we'll see how the day goes. I can do this later on in the week if I want to, but I really want to concentrate getting this front end done, especially this sill. I don't want this getting any worse. But yeah, we'll see. How's the inside of the doors looking? As per the driver's side, yeah, a little bit of scabbiness going on here and there, but nothing serious at all. Back door a little bit worse, but again no rot, basically just flaky surface rust, and yeah, should be a nice easy repair. Obviously very grubby in there because I don't bloody wash it, but weather's not as good today, so we'll see how we get on. Okay, right, we have got some things going on here. Looks like a previous repair to that underneath that wheel arch spat there. Rest of the seal doesn't look too bad. No major holes to worry about. We'll find out more once we get this under seal off. And obviously looks like, yep, an old repair there. So we'll find out what's going on once we linish it all back, see what's going on. Let's get it tidied up. So I think, yeah, most of today looks like we'll be concentrating on this sill and getting them all nice and clean again. Obviously bottom of the wing here, and we'll see how the day goes. The weather's not looking too good, to be fair. It is quite cold considering compared to yesterday, so we'll see how we get on. But I really would like to get this bottom end sorted out. Them things at the top there and the paint fade I can do hopefully another day this week, but we'll see how we get on. Hopefully it'll stay dry long enough for me to get all this sorted out anyway. So let's get this under seal off. Let's find out what we got going on. So that's most of the old stone chip and under seal burnt off. Yeah, there is a few more rusty spots. Let me get my words right. A couple of rusty spots on this side, which I had a feeling that it was going to be a lot worse. That is a previous repair. I've not looked into too much of that, but there are some bits of metal that have been put in there. I'll linish that back there. Hopefully it's nothing too bad. If it is, then I will have to put some metal in. There is a small hole there right at the bottom of the lip. Again, nothing too bad. I'll probably end up just cutting that little back section out and welding a new one in. Rest of the seal's not too bad till we get to that front wing, and look at that, there is a hole. So yeah, I will be cutting that part out. Put some new metal in there, I think. Basically not worth trying to cover that up, although yeah, I can do, but what's the point? It's only going to be a small section of metal I need to cut out there, so I might as well just get on with it and get it done, because the last thing I want to do is come next year do all this again. So I think it's best that I actually tackle these jobs now, put some metal in there where it should be, instead of it looked like it had been filled, if I'm honest, and the filler had been just skimmed over the top of that rusty bit and obviously found its way back off, because water will get in there, especially from obviously the sunroof drains and that kind of thing. Water will find its way in, and once it gets behind the filler lifts off. So yeah, we're going to do a nice welding repair on that, and a repair at that bottom end there on that. But that wheel arch, I don't know, I'm going to have a look at that, I think, and see what we got going on under there. So as you can see, I've cut out a little square hole. Inner wing is all okay. This was just basically a real bad bit of metal there. It had rusted through, so there's no point, you know, playing around with that with filler and stuff like that. It's too far gone to play around with. So it's a case of cutting out, linishing back to some clean metal. And the next trick is with masking tape. Bear with me. And there you go, it's repaired. No, basically now what I do is I get a Sharpie. I can see a nice defined line there where the hole is. So basically I'll get a Sharpie, trace round that, and then I can put this masking tape as a whole, take it off, place it on the piece of metal, and then I can cut it out to the correct size that I want, that'll fit directly in that hole. So yeah, stay tuned, like so. So now I can peel all this off as one, transfer it onto a piece of metal, and then cut it out. So stay tuned, I'll show you how we do that. There we have the tape transferred onto another piece of metal. So now all I need to do is cut round that square with my trusty angle grinder with a plasma disc on, really thin, and just cut that out, and that is my metal then ready to go in there. So with my metal now cut to shape, it's just held in place there with a couple of magnets, and now I can fill weld that in there all the way around and manipulate it as I need to. But that's a roughly a quick way of cutting some metal to size. You know, just transfer it from your tape over to your metal and cut around it. Yes, the gaps are intentional. You don't really want your metal to be completely butted up together. You want the weld to fall in between them, so there is a little gap all the way around. So yeah, time to get the old MIG welder out and patch this little fella up. So there we are, that's some metal back into place where it should have been in the first place. I think what I'll do is, while I've got the linisher out, I might just linish along here, and I might chop out a little bit of metal for that bottom lip down there while I've got the welder out, and get that sorted as well. And then I'll have to have a look at that. That looks interesting. So that's that front wing repaired there, all welded up, new piece of metal gone in, and just a skim of filler there just to hide any imperfections, to make it look nice and smooth. Obviously once that's dry we'll linish that back off. Also welded up that hole at the back, and again just a quick skim of filler just to hide any of the imperfections there. What that originally was looked like a previous repair. It has been patched up, but it's been patched up pretty well. But what it had got was a skim of filler over the top, and it looked like it had been thrown on with a trowel. So basically I've linished it all back. It's not too bad, it's pretty good, so I'm quite happy with how it looks there now. So all that's welded up, that hole at the bottom there, and just a quick skim of filler so I can just put it back to a nice smooth finish there. And yeah, and it had just got gobs of underseal all over it, so it kind of done its job, but it's only right that we tidy it up while I'm at it. So while that's drying off, I'm gonna go and get the mouse out and just linish these little bits off, especially over that back wheel arch there as well. I might as well make a start rather than sitting around waiting for filler to dry. So when I linished these little bubbles back here, it had actually pinholed and gone straight through, and the same as up here on the wing, it had pinholed, and there's about this, just about the size of a halfpenny piece, if you can remember those. So basically what I've done, I got the welder back out, and basically very carefully on a low amperage, slow wire speed, filled these holes back up. So basically all that's going to want now is just flattening back, quick skim of filler just to bring it back up to the correct shape, and the same at the front here, just a quick skim of filler. So if I go back down to the rear arch, these are basically just little rusty bits. There's not holed through, so I'm just going to put some rust treatment on those. This one up here had obviously holed, so as you can see I've made a start welding it up and stitching it back together. So I just basically need to just go along here now and just fill in some of these holes. It's a slow process. As you can see, I've burnt my paint a little bit there, but I'm not too worried about that because it's going to be sprayed anyway. So yeah, it just means that I don't have to start cutting out a piece of metal and making it fit like I did down the front there. This is just another way of putting metal back in there. It's mild steel wire, so basically as you can see it cleans up quite nice once linished off. So I'll just carry on, do a little bit more welding, grind it back, and hopefully there won't be any holes in there no more. So let's crack on, do a little bit more. And that's what it looks like with some weld running across. So basically start from the top and drag it down. That way you get a good adhesion to both sides of the good metal. Looks like I may have to do a little bit more there. we'll see. Once it's linished back off, I'm only using a flap wheel on the grinder, but it's a very gentle one, so it's time consuming. So obviously I want this to cool down a little bit more, because I don't want to start heating the metal up too much and then it starts to buckle and then it starts to lose its shape. So it's going to be a nice, slow, steady process, but I've got a few days off work, so I've got plenty of time to do this. So that's mostly linished off. Hope you can see that. There's a couple of tiny little low spots there. I'm not going to mess too much around with that. Skimmer filler, that'll be absolutely fine. As you can see, I've just had to add a few more little dribbles of weld there, just to build up where it hadn't quite met at this side, as I thought it hadn't anyway. But it, like I say, it's a slow process. Build it up gradually and slowly. Don't get too much heat into the panel. Yeah, so I'll let that cool down. That'll be good to be linished off, and I think we'll leave it at that, and then it'll just be a skimmer filler just to make it look all nice again. So we're getting there. I'm getting there quite well. I'm having a good time with this. Okay, so we've mixed up some filler and gobbed it on where I need to. I'd rather put more on than I need. So basically I can take it back off, and rather than keep mixing up loads and loads of filler. Yeah, so now all I'm going to do is just get the detailer on these and just flatten these back. All these going to be painted anyway, so I'm not too worried about scratching the paint there. And the same round the back here, there's plenty on there. Yeah, so I'm going to get the linisher out now and get these flattened back, and hopefully we'll be ready for paint pretty soon, I think. So that's 10 minutes, 15 minutes spent with the detail sander. Yeah, them feel really nice and smooth. Tidied up back here. Again, I'm not too worried about what's going on here, because I'll be stone chipping up to there anyway, and the wheel arch spat will go on there anyway. So basically just now, half an hour or so with the wet and dry. That's turned out absolutely fantastic. I'm really pleased with that. Yeah, 10 minutes now with wet and dry, just to key everything in, smooth everything out, and get rid of the fine scratches from the detail sander, and key everything back in. I'm really pleased with that. And then we can get things like this all primered up. I've already added some primer to this one. I didn't really need to put any filler on there, because it was basically just a small little scab that I'd linished out, so all looking rather good, I think. So yeah, I think just 10 to 15 minutes with the wet and dry, key it in, and then before I put any primer on there, I'll need to T-cut all this, so to make sure that my paint here is super clean and super bright, so when the primer goes on and the paint goes on, it's because it's such a good match, you won't necessarily see where I'll stop spraying. So as long as your paintwork is nice and bright, nice and T-cutted, degreased, shall I say, should be good to go. So yeah, nice. So here you can see I've started with the white primer to start getting ready to get some paint on. Here you can see it's various stages. That's only had one coat, that's had 2 coats. Down the front here has had 2 coats, and over the back wheel arch there, yeah, 2 coats as well. So it's just a case of nice light coats. You don't want to go on too heavy, because that's when you get your runs and things like that. And also as well, if there is any grease on the paint, it will start to blister and fish eye or whatever, orange peely. There's a little bit up here, but once I've flattened that back, that will be okay. Obviously I've not gone overboard with masking. I've got a nice breeze, so the overspray is being carried anyway, and yeah, the whole car's got to be washed and cut and dusted, if you like, anyway. So yeah, we're going rather well. So I've just added a little bit of primer down here where its paint's faded through, and the same along here, just to give the gloss paint something to adhere to. Again, this will be cutted back, because I don't want loads of overspray, you know, for the gloss to go onto, and I want a nice clean bright paintwork for it to settle to. So far it's looking rather good. So yeah, it's a case of letting things dry all the time, you know. Don't keep trying to add it on while it's still tacky, because again you'll get runs. I'm not too worried about the bottom at the moment, simply because the stone chip will be going on. I'll be bringing the stone chip up to about here anyway, the same as I did the other side. And obviously round the back here it's been linished off. Again, just wants a little bit of new stone chip going on there, obviously white paint as well. So yeah, looking rather good. Then what I'll do is I'll just key in the bottoms of the doors. These doors are actually really good on the outside, and the same on the inside. They're not too bad at all. So it's basically the bottom of the doors are just going to get a light dusting with the stone chip, and again just a quick going over with some white paint. So I'm happy with how the primer has gone on. If I could polish it up, I'd leave it like that, but no, let's put some gloss on it. So before I put some gloss on, I'm using P2500 wet and dry, and I'll be using it wet. Basically I just want where the overspray is and that kind of thing, I basically just want it flattened back, but I don't want to touch the original paint. So 2500 is, well, it's basically just polishing paper. I have used 2500 grit if ever I've got a lot of crap in paint like that, and it feels like sandpaper. Occasionally what I'll do is use this, and I'll use it like a tea-cut, so it'll basically just key off some of the, you know, the imperfections in the paint, and then if you polish it up afterwards it comes up like glass. But I also use it on primer just to take off the, you know, the high spots of the primer, you know, the little beads of paint, just so it then becomes nice and smooth. And what I'll do as well is in between coats of gloss I will use this then dry, just to take off again some of the high spots on the paint. So I'm going to do all that off camera because time is knocking on, and hopefully I want to get this done today, because on this particular video I have run into 2 days, and there's a few more things that I want to do on the car while I've got the time. I must apologise folks, I've gotten a little bit carried away with myself. I've nearly finished it. Okay, so we're all nicely glossed up with the white. That's turned out really, really well. Obviously it's got to be tea-cutted back later on. And over here on the rear arch, all looking nice and good. Stone chip applied. Obviously underneath there, all looking good again. It was starting to look a bit crabby. So anyway, the stone chip has been applied, and I've painted the black basically just below where the sill trim fits. I basically just want the white to harden off a little bit more before I actually mask it up properly, and just continue painting up there to the underneath the sill trim. So yeah, sorry guys, I did get a little bit carried away with myself, and yeah, I think we're starting to look really good again. So once my white paint is fully hardened off, I can mask up, paint the black and put the sill trim back on, and yeah, we're good to go. So that's the sill trim back in place, all riveted in. Just want a quick wipe over. Well, I've got my fingerprints all over it, and yeah, she's looking good in some of the sun. So that's it. That's another video done on the wonderful mighty white there. So that's all from me in this video. Catch us again in something else. I'm sure we've got loads of work to do, and I'm sure we'll see Ricky at some point doing something with Agatha. Wouldn't that be nice? Right, don't forget to like and subscribe, and till the next time, take care of yourselves and each other. Cheerio now. Bye.